This is the tragic life story of a man from United States. It is regarded as the legend in the field of silent film. Lita Gray. He has played Tramp character in film Chaplin. He was going through tough times in his life, but that man smiled, and Chaplin decided that he will help everyone who are in their tragic times. No one in history has made people laugh the maximum amount as Chaplin. The small tramp is silent cinema's first megastar, a personality that was the facility of Chaplin's timeless comedy. He could cause you to still associate things like toothbrush mustaches with laughter even after Hitler had ruined them for everybody. Yet Chaplin's real world was as far away from amusing a moment as you'll possibly get. While his films are criticized in our cynical times for bent toward saccharine sweetness and blatant tear-jerking, the guy dreaming up all the schmaltz was far away from smiling on the within. From his early years trapped, for the primary 12 years of Charlie's life, Charles seems to possess had fleeting pangs of conscience when he tried to assist his kid, albeit those pangs quickly vanished beneath a sea of booze. One such moment came in 1897, when the official Chaplin website claims he got his son into a clog dance troupe to form ends meet. Even this is often uncertain. Other sources informs that Hannah's sympathy-giving behavior contacts arranged the gig. Given that you're reading a piece of writing on Chaplin, famous actor-director, instead of Chaplin, non-famous Victorian who died in poverty, you would possibly expect to read that this, finally, was Charlie's big break. But had fortune made anything easy for young Charlie? The 8 Lancashire Lads was totally flopped, and Charlie was compelled to struggle for work to survive, consistent with biography. This meant taking over an endless parade of awful jobs. Inspiring story, with moral. The tragic life of Chaplin would later claim he'd been a newspaper vendor, a toymaker, a printer, a doctor's boy, and a few zillion other things. It wasn't until the 20th signed to play the drunk during a comic sketch for Fred Carnot's pantomime troupe. Chaplin even toured America. Evidently, America liked what it saw. In 1912, producer Max Sennett signed the young comic to see him in motion pictures. This time, the large break was real, despite the darkness of his private life. This era of Chaplin's career was conversely when his artistic light shone its brightest. In 1919, Chaplin found out United Artists with the W. Griffith and Pickford via The Guardian, where he went on to form films. City Lights and Times really did fulfill that old cliché of bringing joy to millions, whilst other silent stars like Lode and Keaton faded away. By the outbreak of war, Chaplin wasn't just famous. He was an icon, a person who considered himself untouchable, which can explain what happened next. Because the war got underway, Chaplin began making public speeches extolling the Soviet Union, consistent with Slate. In 1940, years later, Wells, who worked Chaplin on Monsieur Verdi, would call him deeply dumb in some ways. He could are talking about Chaplin's communist speeches. The result would be anything but amusing. You're close to start the really tragic a part of Chaplin's life. But first, you would like to listen to about the Mann Act, ushered into law in 1910 by Rep. James R. Mann. The Act's official name is that the prostitute. However, as history details, the Act was worded so broadly that it might be wont to prosecute almost any consensual sexual intercourse, provided one participant traveled to satisfy the opposite. In 1944, Chaplin's personal life again exploded during a mess of seedy allegations. This point for supposedly impregnating and dumping actress Joan Barry, previously This is able to have stayed within the tablets, but, emboldened by rising anti-communist feeling in America, this point the establishment pounced. Chaplin was arrested for white slavery under the Mann Acts, having allegedly taken Barry beyond the state lines. What was left at the name of reputation for Chaplin in America was broken down, but it had been activity in Washington, D. that might really doom the Tramp. The last decades of Charlie Chaplin's life contained of many unique highs and lows. On the one hand, he only made two more films, The King and Nye and A Countess from Hong Kong. King was banned within the USA for being anti-American. On the opposite,